So I've been reflecting on some of my early blog posts, and one of them was, top 10 roadblocks to change. So I really wanted to talk about, what are some of those roadblocks to change, and how do we overcome them? When we think about change, everybody wants change, but who wants to actually change? And more importantly, who wants to lead the change? So going back to as a principle, there's so many different roadblocks, and I'm just going to address a few, but there's so many more. But the important element is whatever those roadblocks are, to identify them early on before you embark on the change process. So let's talk about some of these roadblocks to change. Number one, this is too hard. Newsflash, there's nothing easy about change. Change is a process. It is not an event. You have to be in it for the long haul. If it was going to be easy, everybody would be doing it and having success. Number two, time. I don't have time for this. It's just another thing I have to do. It's an add-on. When we think about time, it's not about finding the time. It's about making the time. And when we think about working with educators, it's how can we ensure that the process of change is embedded in what we already do. That is so important. Number three, lack of collaboration. If people aren't playing nice, it's hard to be successful with change. But it's also how do we create the conditions where we actually are able to get people to collaborate and work together. Number four, the directive approach. My way or the highway. I'm the boss, I'm the leader, I'm going to make the decisions. Whether you're a classroom leader, building leader, or district leader, the directive approach doesn't carry much influence in these days. Now, there's a time for it, but we have to build through consensus. We need to have a shared vision, a shared strategic plan. When we think about change, change is the actions of many, not the actions of one. Number five, the hierarchy in schools. Oh my goodness. When we think about all the different layers that we have, from boards of education, superintendents, assistant supes, principals, assistant principals, teacher leaders, oh my goodness, the hierarchy in schools can be suffocating. The idea is how do we cut that red tape? And when we think about true change and the obstacles, we have to reduce that hierarchy. Again, it's about shared ownership and allowing everybody through actions to implement change. Number six, no support. Support can come in the form of time, resources, professional development. So as we think about support, we have to support those who we serve, our kids, our teachers, other leaders. If we want innovation to become mainstream and embedded, we got to provide that support. I think I'm on number seven, the fear of change. Oh my goodness, I love this quote by Zig Ziglar. Fear, forget everything and run, or fear, face everything and rise. It's okay to be scared. And I think with fear, people are afraid to fail, especially whether it's our kids, teachers, administrators. We have to look at fail as first attempt in learning. So as we think about this fear of failure, this obstacle, it has to be removed, or else it's always going to be sort of embedded in that culture where it's not going to allow the changes we want to take place. Number eight, the naysayers and antagonists. You know what they say? It's the 5% that give you 95% of the problems. There will always be people, the yeah buts. You have to help those yeah but people to really see it as what if. The naysayers and antagonists can't be allowed to fester and be part of the problem. You have to make them part of the solution. Doesn't matter. Don't make it a personal issue. Keep it professional. Give them a seat at the table. Let their voices be heard. Lead for consensus when you can. But again, if you let them become that gorilla in the room, it's going to be very hard. They'll be undermining you every step of the way. Number nine, poor professional development. Research has shown the most effective professional development for improving outcomes is job embedded, ongoing. It's not one and done. It's not the flavor of the month. It's not drive by. We talk about personalized learning for our students. Well, what does that look like for our adults, both teachers and administrators? It has to be relevant, engaging, purposeful, something you use right away. Conducted people that have actually taught in classrooms, led buildings. There's so many things that go into it. But again, it's got to be meaningful and purposeful. And it's got to be provided, ongoing, meeting the needs of the educators that we work with. And number 10, in terms of obstacles to change, frivolous purchases. We love spending money. We spend money on things that really don't impact outcomes. The question we have to ask when we're spending money is, how will this improve learning for our kids? Just putting an interactive whiteboard in every classroom, in my opinion, that's a frivolous purchase if it's not actually used by the learners to construct new knowledge, to collaborate, to create. So we spend so much money. One of the best things I did as a principal was really let my teachers have more ownership over the budget, and we made sure that the purchases were going to have more of an impact. So, those are just some of the things that I experienced as a principal. This is really about coming to building an awareness of what those obstacles you're faced with and developing a plan of action to overcome them. I'd love to hear what your obstacles are and what you've done to overcome them. Please feel free to share on social media. Thanks for listening, everybody.